God, I look like I need to go to bed, and I probably do because it is 4:21 in the morning. I'm supposed to be on a better schedule, and I can't seem to get there. Uh, I don't really know what to do with this channel. I want to do whatever it is that you guys would be interested in knowing or seeing, or I don't know. So I'm just gonna throw some shit at the wall, and we'll see what sticks. Good morning. It is 4:24 a.m. on July 21st, 2025. I've been sitting here trying to figure out what to put on this goddamn channel. Um, I had a bunch of stuff on it. I don't really think anybody's interested in it. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody cares. So I figured that I would just, I don't know, spaz out and let's see what happens. So I thought we could just sit here and daydream together for a little while. Just daydream. I like daydreaming. I used to do it all the time. Now I barely ever do it because I'm always editing a video for my gaming channel or trying to figure out what story needs to be written for my next romance book, or I'm doing crap around the house with my housemates. So I like to daydream, and I just want to daydream for a little while. So if you're not too busy, join me. Let's just stare into space and let our minds wander. Hmm. Okay, of course, now that I want to daydream, I can't think of anything to daydream about. I was trying to watch a YouTube video a few minutes ago, and I was off in La La Land, missed most of the video. I'm gonna have to watch that shit again. Um, Daydreaming. I know what I'll daydream about. I'll start there. We'll see where it takes me. So I'm gonna start by conjuring the image in my mind of the two characters that I want to write my next book about. And in case you're not reading my cowboy series, I am speaking of Sierra Jackson and Cody Harding. Yep. I asked my readers to help me name him. I got two suggestions. And I'm going with the first one that I got. So, the one person who sent me the name Cody, you know who you are, and I love you because you're an awesome person. Okay, so I'm going to picture how they meet. And then I will tell you what I daydreamed. And when the book comes out, I'll read that first meeting between them and we'll compare and see if they line up. So we're going to daydream for a couple of minutes here. I mean, if you're hanging around, you ain't got nothing else to do, daydream with me. So now, Sierra, in case you haven't read the other books, Sierra Jackson is a biracial woman. Her mother was African American. I'm not going to say African American, Black American, because, okay, I got a problem with that term. Um, Black American, and her father was a white man from a small town, fictional town. He was a racist. And it's kind of a weird story because the first part of the story happens in Dwight Hayes' book, which is A Cowboy's Love. Um, so Dwight's father, and he didn't find this out till the end of his story, uh, had a relationship with a black woman and had a baby with her. And he was a racist piece of shit, mostly because of the fact of where they lived, and his family was racist, and his brothers, everyone who knew him to be a racist piece of shit. None of them really believed that he would have loved a black woman and had a kid with her, but he did. And so Sierra comes in at the end of his story to meet Dwight, her brother, who's now looking for her because he had no idea she existed. So Luke finds her. She comes to the wedding, and I'm writing her romance, and she's of course going to fall in love with someone and end up staying at Stanley Ranch, along with all the other interracial couples from the series. But anyway, Sierra is an interesting person, and uh, okay, I'm gonna sound a little crazy here, but this is how I write. My characters tell me their stories. If they don't tell me their stories and I just start writing something, I end up rewriting that book when they start speaking to me and telling me, it didn't happen like that, homegirl. It happened like this. Get your fingers on the keys and get ready to type. So um, that's why some of my books have not been coming out monthly like I normally do, because I'm letting them tell their story when they're ready. And I get bits and pieces of what is going on with Sierra right now. So I'm not fully aware of what her story is, but I'll give you a physical description of Sierra. So Sierra is, like I said, she's biracial, but she's not one of those light skinned, golden colored um, biracial women. She is absolutely beautiful brown. I mean, a beautiful, like, I think I have kind of like a, well, except for my spots where I have skin issues. Anyway, um, I see her as this beautiful brown, and I'll actually show you the picture that I've created for the cover. If you haven't been to my website and seen it, I'll put that in here somewhere. But anyway, I picture her with blonde hair, and it's natural. Like, she does not dye it. She, doesn't bleach it. She goes out in the sun, and the sun kisses that hair and makes it this beautiful um, yellow spun gold looking hair. And it's long. I mean, like down to her butt long, and it's thick. And but her skin is almost like a complete contrast to that. She's dark brown. She is never had a blemish, doesn't have a pore you can see on her face, just absolutely fucking gorgeous. And she has blue eyes, which is the same thing with Dwight. Dwight has blue eyes. They have the same eyes. They got their eyes from their daddy. So she is, I think, absolutely gorgeous. She, of course, as some of my characters are fuller figured women, she is one that is full figured. She has big boobs, and she's got a little punch, and she's got a big butt, and she's got thick thighs, and she's confident. She's everything you would want her to be. And she is a New Yorker. She was born in Texas, but her mother left because of all the drama surrounding her affair with this married white racist man. Uh, she moved to New York. I'm assuming probably because she had family there. I don't know. Sierra hasn't told me that yet. I'm just assuming. But Sierra is a New Yorker. And I mean, like, smart mouth, attitude, not afraid, New Yorker. You know, not openly, immediately friendly with you. You kind of have to get to know her. Anyway, she is a tech person. She does a lot of like website design, and that's one of the things that's going to keep her at the ranch. Now, of course, like I said in the last book, she arrives at her brother's wedding, and they are able to spend a little bit of time together, maybe a day or two. I don't know yet. They spend some time together, but he does want her to stick around if she can, because he wants to get to know her. I mean, he has a million and one questions, and she has questions too. So she agrees to stick around. She can work from anywhere, and of course Luke and Edie are the absolute best hosts you could have. Having her stay at the ranch. So, she's got a wonderful guest cottage right off the main house. You've got Elise who cooks all the meals. You've got all these people wandering around doing their jobs, and they are a family at the ranch. So, Sierra ends up staying because she wants to spend more time to get to know her brother when he comes back from his honeymoon. And while she's there, she is going to meet Mr. Harden. Cody is a bull rider. uh, and there's a rodeo coming through town. And of course, Luke used to be a bull rider. In fact, he kind of mentored Cody. So Cody is a friend, and of course, they all go to see him. So in my head, their meeting, it takes place at the rodeo, away from Luke and Edie and Rose, Eli, whoever else is going to this um, event. And when they meet, it's I don't know, maybe she stumbles or bumps into him or something. Anyway, he catches her, and she kind of freaks out a bit. And she's not nice to him, but that doesn't phase him. He thinks she's interesting and beautiful, and probably never going to see her again, so no big deal. And he goes on his way, she goes on her way, and then there, Luke, Edie, Rose, and Eli, and I don't know, some other people from the ranch are in the stands watching, and uh, she sees him ride this bull. And oh, I forgot to mention, this is something else that she has told me. Sierra is also an amateur photographer. So a lot of the website that she works on, if she's able to create the images herself, she prefers to do that for these websites. So she's an amateur photographer. So she's almost always got a camera in her hand. So she's snapping photos of the events. And, some of it is, for keepsake memories, putting her little photo album or whatever. Or as the people do today, I'm sorry, I'm so old, load it up on the gram. Uh, anyway, she so she's snapping pictures of him. He gets injured. I do know that he gets injured, and or he's tossed to the ground. And even though it doesn't look serious, maybe he's had a few concussions, and so he's at that point where he knows it's time for him to stop being a bull rider. And his family history, Cody's family history, is very interesting. There's some stuff that I don't know all of the details about yet because he hasn't told me, but I do know a little bit. That little bit is that Cody has a Western ancestor who was an outlaw. Um, anyway, so I don't know which side of the family that's on, whatever, but his family is from Tennessee and they have a farm. And his mother died within the last 10 years or so, I guess. And he's kind of been running from the responsibility that he believes is associated with inheriting that farm. Um, he knows how to farm. It's an ingrained thing because his mom and dad raised him on that farm, so he knows the business of the farm, and his dad has been dealing with it. But it's time. Cody's dad is getting up in age, and he's getting to a point where he doesn't want to or doesn't need to be running this farm all the time. So he's been trying to get Cody to come home, to settle down, to give up this cowboy way of life, and Cody doesn't want to. Um, he just feels like there's something else going on in his life. There's something that he needs that he doesn't have yet. And of course, I think it's going to be Sierra, but he doesn't know that yet. But anyway, so Cody is fighting that feeling of it's time for me to go home. It's time for me to, take over the farm. And, he just thinks his life is going to be so if he does. So he's not happy about this, but this accident happens. And while after he's looked at by the doctor, and the doctor is kind of like, this is it. You've got to stop. You've got to stop. Um, Luke comes in, and Luke, convinces him to come stay at his ranch for a while, just to recuperate and hang out or, whatever. And Cody, of course, is very thankful for that because he's not ready to go home. And of course, he and the beautiful Sierra are going to have lots of interactions at the ranch. And like I said, he's attracted to her. He notices, he feels that instantly. She feels it too, but she kind of has this rule against dating white men because of the trauma that she associates with white men because of her mother's relationship with her father and her mother's subsequent relationships thereafter. So she's determined to fight this thing, and she is going to be flippant and have a smart mouth, and she is going to make it really difficult for him. But at the same time, she is going to get to know him, and what she learns about him kind of, shakes her to her core. Because Cody he's a big old softy. Yeah, he rides bulls. He's big. He's muscular. He's a man's man. He'll knock a guy out with one punch. Not afraid of anything. But some of the scenes that I know that are going to happen in this book because I've seen them in my head. One is her catching him watching social media videos, TikToks or YouTube or something. And, she's thinking he's watching some stupid manly, I'm a man's man kind of stuff. But what she finds out is he's watching cute baby videos, um, you know, dogs with attitude, those kinds of things, animal videos, that just kind of touch your heart. And she also catches him literally tearing up from some of the stuff that he sees and how it affects him. And she's going to have a hard time reconciling those two images, the one that she's got of him, her perception of him versus what he really is. And at the same time, Cody recognizes in her that she is a very loving person, but she's too afraid of love to let any man, get too close to her. Um, so, she pushes them away. And most men would give up. And in his case, he's determined to love her, even if she doesn't want to be loved. So that's, I think, the dynamic of their relationship. And um, I have this image, and this is where the cover comes from because this image popped into my head of them, um, which I don't know. Part of me thinks it's going to be at the end of the story that this image comes out, but the cover image of them standing in a field of wheat. Um, into my head and it won't leave me. And that's at the point that I know she recognizes that this thing between them is love. It is the love that she has always wanted. It is the love that her mother wanted and deserved. And she can have this if she will just let go and let it be. So I know I said we were going to daydream, but I don't spend this whole time talking now. But yeah, that's that's what I know about Cody and Sierra. Well, I know a little bit more about Sierra, but I don't want to tell y'all everything because then you might not want to read that book. But but yeah, I haven't started writing yet, and I really wanted. I thought I would be done with it by now, but I've got stuff going on that's taking priority. Dealing with stuff with my peoples and my health, so we got some stuff going on. But anyway, that's a little bit about the next cowboy book, which I am calling a tender-hearted cowboy, or just tender-hearted cowboy, because that's what he is. And his tender heart is going to be what reels her into this dynamic love relationship that she could have. Mm. And I really, I'm just going to say this and then I'll get off of here because this video is already like 24 minutes long. Ugh. When I was writing A Cowboy's Love, I had no intention of there being another book. I mean, honestly, when I finished Rose and Eli's book, I didn't expect to write another book, but I kind of felt like Dwight got cheated because initially I thought Dwight and Lariah were gonna, have this relationship, and it didn't turn out that way at all. And then um, with Eli and Rose, you know, I thought I mean not Eli, I thought that Rose and Dwight would end up being the couple, and Eli was like, "No, that's my sweetheart right there. Mm-mm, you can't have her." So that changed that story, and I felt bad for Dwight because I really intended to give him a romance from the first moment I started to write Lariah's story, and it didn't work out that way. So I kind of felt bad. So I was like, "Wait a minute, let me see if I can get Dwight to talk to me about his romance and whatever." And Mary popped out, and I was kind of like, "Okay, who is Mary, and why is she so important to you?" Hmm. And so he told me the story about her being half black, half Hispanic, and his father and mother being very racist. And they kind of had a secret love, and he went off to join the army, and she was supposed to wait for him. But when he came home, she was gone with no word. Her family wouldn't talk to him, wouldn't tell him anything. And, they didn't really know what the relationship between Mary and him was. Um, so that was all of that was shocking to me. The kid and the fact that the kid knew that Dwight was his dad, all of that was kind of like, what? Okay. I wasn't ready for it. But I love the story. I think it turned out well. And it was one of the shorter stories. I think it was a little bit shorter than the others altogether. But Dwight got his love back, and uh, they got married and working things out. Um, the only story I think in this whole Cowboy series that I kind of knew part of the details again before the romance started was Luke and Edie. Because initially, Luke and Edie's book was supposed to be the first book. Yeah, it was. It was supposed to be the first book. Um, but they weren't talking to me. They wouldn't talk to me. And I was like, okay, if y'all not talking to me, let me see who else wants to talk. And Lariah started talking. And I was like, what? Okay, so Lariah's going down to Texas. Okay. Oh, and she's not telling Edie. Okay. And that's one thing that got really interesting for me because there was secrets going on in that book. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, yeah. But I have to admit, uh, of the books that I've written, I never thought about writing a cowboy book. Really, it was one of my most faithful readers who asked me to write a cowboy story, and I was like, okay, I don't know how this is going to come out, but anyway, right now these books are some of the most read and bought books that I have on Amazon. Which, thank you, people. Thank you for reading. Thank you for purchasing. We need that money. Thank you. But yeah, I had so much fun writing these. Um, so I'm not anticipating there being any more Cowboys of Sunset Spring books right now, because I actually have some other characters who've been talking to me. Okay, if any of you have read the Road Beast books, we had a whole bunch of them. I think it's maybe 10 or 12 of those books. I don't remember. But anyway, in those books, we have characters that were mentioned from another motorcycle club from Houston, the Winged Avengers. And Big Bird has been talking to me about some of the people in his club. So I have asked Big Bird to be quiet so that I can finish this cowboy series. I also have been hearing from Krampus. Um, it is that Christmas series, man. Okay, when I wrote the first book, where Kris Kringle Jr. has to do a certain thing to get Holly to admit that she believes in Christmas magic, that Christmas magic is real, that Santa is real. Um, y'all have no idea how this whole thing played out in my head before I was able to write it. I was having conversations with my housemates and my best friends. They are often very helpful when I get to a plot issue and I'm like, well, wait a minute, okay, I need to talk this out. So they listen, and one of my housemates is very serious about Christmas. Okay, so I consulted him, and then I consulted my bestie, and I even talked to our other housemate, and it was just awesome. But anyway, so I kind of knew that we were going to have Kris Kringle Jr.'s story and how that was going to end up with him becoming Santa Claus. And then the second book kind of surprised me because there was stuff that came up while I was writing that I didn't even know was happening. Okay. Uh, so that's a paranormal series if you've not read it. And it is all centered around Christmas. And um, his sister Christine gets involved with Noel Pine, whose family runs a Christmas tree farm. And her brother sends her there after he becomes Santa Claus. He sends her there to learn how to farm Christmas trees because they want to start a farm in the North Pole. And anyway, a lot of stuff goes on there, but she and Noel are fated mates, and things happen as they're supposed to. But they also learn some very interesting things uh, about Noel's heritage, his parentage, who his mother is anyway, um, and why he has a special ability. So that whole thing was supposed to lead into a series of paranormal holiday books that I just have not gotten to because other characters are talking way too loud and they need their stories told. But anyway, so the third book should have come out like 3-4 years ago, I think. I can't even remember. 3-4 anyway, but it didn't, and it worked out really well that it didn't because Christian Kringle, the last single Kringle kid, was not talking to me, and neither was his love interest. Now I already knew from the second book, I knew who his love interest was, but I had no idea how they were going to get together. And that's one of those situations where I wrote this story, and then I knew that was not their story, so I deleted it. Didn't save it. I deleted it because I knew that wasn't the right story for them. And then last year, Christian and Joy started talking to me, and I was like, "Oh, so now you're ready to tell your story? Okay." So wrote their story, and even at the end of it, I was sitting there going, "Oh Lordy, y'all done opened the door for another Kringle book." So if you haven't read them, little spoiler: Kris Kringle, Santa Claus, uh, has a brother, and his brother is Krampus. So they are polar opposites. So Kris Kringle is all about the giving of Christmas and everything, and his brother hated that about him. So he was the anti-Christmas character. He's the one who gave the lump of coal. He's the one that scared little kids and did all this stuff. Um, and mostly that happened because he felt like he was cheated out of his fated mate. Um, and it was kind of his fault because in this world of magic, the Kringle children have to be pure when they get married. And Krampus and his lady love were not. So he got booted out of the magical realm of the North Pole, where he and his mate would have lived. And she got sick after they had their first kid, or their only kid, and she died. Absolutely died. And he felt like that was his family's fault. So he turned all of his anger and hate into destroying Christmas, which he nearly did. But Christian and Joy saved the entire world with their special gifts. So anyway, But so at the end of this now, Krampus is back on the good side, uh, and he meets a new love interest. So I want to write that one, and I really want to write it, but uh, I don't want to focus on that one until like maybe October to give myself plenty of time to go through all of these. But anyway, so these are the things that I'm working on. We were supposed to daydream, but I spent all this time talking. And I really do need to take my ass to bed because it is 5:02 in the morning, and my doctor has been on my case about my sleeping habits. So anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. Oh, if you're still here, leave me a comment about something you'd like to know or something you'd like me to discuss. You want to know how I come up with my ideas? You want to know, I don't know. I don't know what you want to know. But if you want to know something, ask me and I will answer. Okay? I definitely need to go to sleep. I'm tripping. Bye, y'all.